Hello, and welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Van Eyderstein. Thank you for joining me again tonight as we go into the next couple of paragraphs of the chapter, Hidden Sacrifices in the book Byways of Blessedness by James Allen. This one right here. This is the copy I will be reading out of, which has changed since the last one. I intentionally changed it because the second edition copy I have, the binding's starting to fall apart in the front right here. So this book, this is a printing from 1915 that I have obtained that I will be reading out of tonight just to maintain the integrity of the copy. It's right here, but I just wanted to make sure I wasn't destroying it any further, at least minimal use. So we are back in the office. You know, we have changed up from the folding wall as the background. The office is put back together after some flooding. So I am excited about this. And I'm looking forward to doing this reading tonight. So thank y'all for joining me. Of course, you can go ahead and follow us on Facebook. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe on YouTube here. We also have a Spotify channel. We're on Apple Podcasts, Instagram, also TikTok. So wherever you want to get the information, it is definitely available for you. And I appreciate all the support I've gotten as this channel has been developed and we're moving forward. So I really do appreciate it. So thank you all for the views, the comments, the input, everything like that. So I am really looking forward to getting to these next couple of paragraphs in this book. So let's go on ahead and get that started, shall we? Like I said, I'm reading from a relatively early copy. This one was 1915, maybe even earlier than 1915 was written into this by the first buyer. You can also get this copy off of Amazon. There's a lot of different copies that you might be able to actually go out, check out, see how you like it. Okay, follow along if you'd like. So I'll be referencing this one for all the highlighted and commentary that I've written for these next couple of paragraphs, but I will be doing the initial reading, at least out of one of the earlier printings. So here we go. Last week was about anger, and I absolutely loved it. Anger and unkindness. There was a lot of great stuff. It was only a couple paragraphs, but there was so much in it. So we're going to go on to the next, I think it's 3 or 4 paragraphs here for the next hidden sacrifice. And we'll get to it. So again, this is Byways of Blessedness by James Allen. And we're doing the 5th chapter called Hidden Sacrifices. And the paragraph we're starting with starts with a perhaps. If you're following along in this exact copy, it is on page 28. Here we go. Perhaps you are habitually impatient and irritable. Know, then, the hidden sacrifice which is needful that you should make. Give up your impatience. Overcome it there where it is wont to assert itself. Resolve that you will yield no longer to its tyrannical sway, but will conquer it and cast it out. It is not worth keeping for a single hour, nor would it dominate you for another moment if you were not laboring under the delusion that the follies and perversities of others render impatience on your part necessary. Whatever others may do or say, even though they may mock and taunt you, impatience is not only unnecessary, it can never do anything, it can never do any other than aggravate the evil which it seeks to remove. Calm, strong, and deliberate action can accomplish much, but impatience and its accompanying irritability are always indications of weakness and inefficiency. And what do they bestow upon you? Do they bestow rest, peace, happiness, or bring these to those about you? No, do they not rather make you and those about you wretched? But though your impatience may hurt others, it certainly hurts and wounds and impoverishes yourself most of all. Nor can the impatient man know aught of true blessedness, for he is a continual source of trouble and unrest to himself. The calm beauty and perpetual sweetness of patience are unknown to him, and peace cannot draw near to soothe and comfort him. There is no blessedness anywhere until impatience is sacrificed, and its sacrifice means the development of endurance, the patience of forbearance, the creation of a new and gentler habit of mind. When impatience and irritability are entirely put away, are finally offered up on the altar of unselfishness, then it is realized and enjoyed the blessedness of a strong, quiet, and peaceful mind. Each hour we think of others more than self, the hour we live again. And every lowly sacrifice we make for others, good, shall make life more than self, and ope the windows of thy soul to light from higher spheres. So hail thy lot with joy. There we go. We are talking about impatience and irritability and giving those up. Now, these are big ones. These are ones that are commonly observed in today's society, relatively regularly, even in many different situations. It's one that many people claim to have a problem with. It's one that many people seek to improve upon, right? So it's really great that he actually mentions impatience in this. And I like how he connects impatience to irritability, because we're impatient first, then irritable afterwards, right? So it's important to actually see that, right? Like how anger and unkindness were connected previously. He connects impatience and irritability. So let's get into it. So as you can tell here, I've got, I think I defeat the purpose of highlighters. Excuse me. Because when I'm doing these, I'm finding every single line to be important. Every single turn of phrase, I truly believe he picked every word so specifically with this chapter. I think with all of his works. That's one thing I liked about, James Allen, is it's intentional, it's specific, and it's relatively to the point. He doesn't really beat around the bush. He's very direct with what he's trying to say. He doesn't mince words. I'd say that often about him. And I believe that's one of the things that attracts me to him, because I'm not able to try to manipulate what I'm reading and make it fit my own agenda. It's very straightforward to the point. And like with anger and unkindliness, he says it's just never appropriate. It's never a good thing to practice, period. It's never a good thing most of the time. It's never making a decision out of anger is never a good idea, right? It's never appropriate and should never be done. Well, I can't really argue with that. So, but there's a lot that's important in this 4 paragraphs. So, impatience and irritability. That's the theme for these paragraphs, right? Perhaps you are habitually or so regularly practiced almost impatient and irritable, right? So we've normalized it to ourselves. Know then the hidden sacrifice which is needful that you should make. Give up your impatience. Give up, right? So it's not wait for it to be taken from you. It's not wait till you feel like it's the right time. It's give it up. Like you're still clinging to it. Let it go. Give it up and have some faith in the process, right? We talked about that a little bit last week, how a lot of these behaviors we're going to be talking about are deeply ingrained. They're ones that we've been practicing for a very long time. We've had a lot of experience doing them, right? So sometimes we don't even know we're doing them. Actually, sometimes it's becomes so normal and so natural for us that we don't realize it's something we have to give up. And they know that famous or not famous, that favorite phrase that many people have. This is just the way I am. I've always been this way. That doesn't mean you get to you can have to stay that way. Awareness is really key. And once you have awareness of a problem or a desire to change something, if you still have it, that's on you. Right? That's your responsibility now. You can't say I didn't know. When you are in ignorance of an issue, then what can you do about it? But when you have awareness and understanding that there's an issue, well, then it's your problem. And it's up to you to actually do it. So I think that's an important way he's phrased this, that give up your impatience. Overcome it there where it is want to assert itself, right? So when you feel it coming on, right? When you would normally be acting on impatience, right? Overcome it there where it is want to assert itself, right? Like you choose to let impatience manifest in you. Isn't that amazing? And this is the truth. We might have trained it to be our first reaction, but really impatience is a choice. Every single time, impatience is a choice. So every time we're in a situation where we choose to be impatient, fight it there, right? Overcome it there where it is want to assert itself. Resolve that you will yield no longer to its tyrannical sway. What a beautiful way to say that. Tyrannical sway. Just the phrasing of that implies that it's dominating. It overtakes you, right? So it encompasses everything, right? It's a tyrant demanding of you to act in a certain way, to take certain actions, to have certain behaviors. Its tyrannical sway. Resolve that you will yield no longer to its tyrannical sway. So you're not going to just lay down and take the normal course that you've been taking. You're not going to just let it overcome you and take the normal actions you would, right? Fight that. Don't let it just run the show anymore. It's people. This is such a large, what some might call a character defect, that people define themselves by this one, right? Similar to anger. Like, I'm an angry person. I'm an impatient person. It's a bred-in character quality for them. But it doesn't have to be that way. It's something that is normalized by a lot of people, but you can choose to let it go. You can choose to change that. You can choose not to bow down to that tyrant anymore, that controls you, that manipulates you, that directs you in how you're going to be. It takes away opportunity from you. But will conquer and cast it out. So resolve that you will yield no longer to its tyrannical sway, but will conquer and cast it out, right? Like, I will get rid of this. And it's so insidious in our day-to-day lives. Like, I'm talking about impatience everywhere. And I'm not just for life to hurry up, for payday to get here. I'm talking about when you're waiting in line at the grocery store. I'm talking about when you're stuck in traffic, right? Or when you're not even stuck in traffic, just the person ahead of you is not speeding as fast as you want them to speed, right? They're going the speed limit or even over, but they're not going as fast as you want them to be going over, right? That is impatience, right? Someone cuts you off in traffic. A light's taking too long. There's not even traffic around you. You just got caught at a red light, right? But you're cursing the world and you're taking it personally, right? You're feeling like a victim of the world because, hey, traffic happens, right? Or a traffic light changed without your permission. Impatience is literally everywhere. There's so many examples of it showing up in our lives, right? And it can be someone's not changing their behavior as quick as I want them to. I'm a very impatient person when I feel like somebody else should have learned this lesson by now, right? Like they should have understood that this is a bad move at this point in their life. Not so, though. That's impatience. He goes on to say It is not worth keeping a single hour, which is kind of amazing, right? Like a lot of people, like I said, have lived their lives by this being a character quality for them, right? And even some would say and identify that it's not something they find them beneficial to their life or that they're proud of. It's just who they are, right? They just it's default setting for them, you could say. But he just said you can fight it, and it's not when after you've had it brought to your attention that you're able to fight it and change it. It is not worth keeping for a single hour past that. Realize this. It will not serve you in any single way. It may have in the past, right? It may have in one specific instance worked where we learned that if we were impatient and we acted irrationally and selfishly, that we could achieve a goal that we wanted to achieve, right? Like we could move something along, we could get our way, because that's really what it is trying to control and manipulate this world around us. But it doesn't actually work for a long-term solution. It's not something to base your character around. It's not something to base your perspectives around, right? Or or something to rely on to walk through life with, right? It's not worth keeping a single hour. Now, this is a great quote, and I want to read this specifically in its entirety first. Nor would it dominate you for another moment if you were not laboring under the delusion that the follies and perversities of others render impatience on your part necessary. So, if you didn't catch that, what he's saying there is we choose to be impatient because we believe it serves us. We believe it does something for us. Like I said, it might have done something for you once and you learned if you act a certain way, sometimes you might get your way, right? So we choose impatience because we're selfish and self-centered and we think it does something for us. We keep impatience because it serves me in some way. But he said, I love the way he worded it. Nor would it dominate you. So it completely dominates you. Again, he had some very strong language here. Tyrannical, right? Tyrannical sway, dominate you for a moment. Nor would it dominate you for a moment if you were not laboring, right? You're working under the impression, like in the laborious work at that, right? Under the delusion, like there's some very clear terminology he's using here. If you were not laboring under the delusion that the follies and perversities of others render impatience on your part necessary, right? So these people, because of the way they're acting, cause me to need to be impatient. That's what's happening every single time. This way that this person's acting, the way things are turning out, are in such a way that I have deemed it necessary that I become impatient. Just to let everybody know I don't like what's going on and it's inconveniencing my day. It sounds insane when you think about it like that. It sounds like something that, why would we keep it? You know, why would it be something we would even consider keeping around, right? But we do all the time. My constant allowance of it to infiltrate my thinking is something I had to put a lot of work onto. You know, it's something that I now know I want to, as he said, conquer it and cast it out. But I hold on to it, and I've learned it for so long because I really thought it served me. Or my impatience led to irritability, and my irritability led me to a sense of moral superiority, right? A sense of, it's all ego satisfying. It's all ego driven, right? That selfishness, that self-centeredness. So a fantastic quote. Absolutely love it, right? Impatience is what we choose because we believe it is necessary because of the inconvenience other people place upon us and our will for the day or the moment or the year or whatever it might be. When you really kind of break it down like that, it's so selfish. So he goes on to say, whatever others may do or say, even though they may mock and taunt you, impatience is not only unnecessary, it can never do any other than aggravate the evil which it seeks to remove. So, first of all, impatience is not worth allowing to manifest. It is not an emotion or a state of being to choose for any reason. No matter he says here, if they taunt, whatever others may do or say, even though they may mock and taunt you, impatience and irritability is something that never actually improves the situation, right? It's not only unnecessary, it can never do anything other but aggravate the evil it seeks to remove, right? So impatience only will ever make a situation worse. Every single time, right? It escalates the situation. And sometimes in that escalation, you can manipulate your way through to get what you want. That's the reasoning for it. But it never calms things down. Me being impatient and irrational and irritable never puts anything positive back into this world. It never actually contributes to the circumstances. Does it? I don't know about your experience, but it doesn't for me, right? To let everybody know that they're inconveniencing me really doesn't help anybody else. It really doesn't help a situation. And it really just adds that escalated energy back into the world. And no one really needs that, to be honest with you. That doesn't need to be part of this whole thing. But I use it selfishly. So, which it seeks to remove. So, we're inconvenienced. We think being impatient will remove the inconvenience. But as we all know, it just escalates it. It just only ever escalates. And you just hope you win during or after that escalation. That's really what impatience is. Calm, I love these three words, calm, strong, and deliberate action, not reactive, not emotionally driven, not selfish and self-centered. Calm, strong, deliberate action can accomplish much. Right? What he's given us some solution here, right? He's saying if you are in a situation which you would usually call on to be impatient in, right? You would usually manifest an impatient attitude towards. Calm, strong, and deliberate action will carry you further, much further than impatience ever did, right? And it will carry you much further, more consistently, with your own peace of mind intact, right? Like, that's really the end goal for me. I want to continue to maintain my peace and my serenity. Impatience rips that away. Irritability rips that from me. It almost like carves it out with a knife from my soul. It's amazing how quickly I become restless, irritable, and discontented. So calm, strong, and deliberate action can accomplish much. But impatience and its accompanying irritability, what he means here, impatience leads to irritability, like it always comes with it, right? Because when I'm impatient, it creates an energy and an additional emotional reaction of irritability, right? I am impatient. I then become irritable. I then open my mouth or take actions that are unhealthy, right? Instead of being calm, strong, and having deliberate action, I have reactive energy. I have selfish, egotistical energy, over the top energy, right? That actually does not contribute or help anything. So, but impatient and its accompanying irritability are always indications of weakness and inefficiency. Ouch. You never think about what it actually shows about you, right? Well, I'm just an impatient person. Well, it shows weakness. It shows inefficiency. And when you let that sink in, when you realize that that's true, because I know it's true. I know when I read that the first time, like it just rang true for me, and it was almost a shameful thing because it's not like I didn't know it, but until it was written down on a book in front of me to say, hey, your impatience actually makes you weak, makes you inefficient, right? You're not actually using the energy appropriately. You're wasting time because you're an impatient, irritable fool. Hard truth right there for me. I did not like that at all because I thought impatience was serving me, but it only served to make me look foolish at the end of the day. And what do they bestow upon you? Like, what does impatience, and irritability actually give you when you think about it? Does it seem to be a positive thing in your life? Right? Do they bestow rest, peace, happiness, or bring these to those about you, right? Like when you're in an impatient and irritable place, are you happy, restful? Are you at peace? No, you're none of those things. Are the people around you? No, everyone's on edge. Everyone's getting defensive and getting combative with you, right? Because you're instigating further, you're escalating the situation, right? So no, those around you don't find it a source of happiness or contentment or fulfillment with life. They don't find peace or rest with it. Even if the family members that aren't there, even they know how you are, and therefore they still have no rest, right? Every time you leave the house, you don't know what's going to happen. You're going to get road rage and cut someone off and get yourself shot, get yourself killed. That's real. That's real. This is one that can rob our family members of a sense of security and safety. Do they bestow rest, peace, happiness, or bring these to those around you? Do they not, rather, make those about you wretched? Do they make you wretched? Like everyone you come in contact with or interact with, do they just become a wretched individual when you're around? But though your impatience may hurt others, it certainly hurts and wounds and impoverishes yourself most of all. You will suffer the most due to your impatience. Other people will suffer too. They will have to deal with you. They will have to suffer your tantrums, your childish little fits that you'll throw, right? The ones I've thrown plenty of, the ones I've experienced, right? My childish, self-centered perspective, right? That I thought the world revolved around me, which it did not. It was very upsetting to me when I found that out, right? But I suffer the most. I have a loss of balance. I lose energy. I just have it pouring out of me because I can't seem to contain myself because I couldn't maintain my composure, right? I would let impatience and irritability run over and through me all the time. So I didn't realize how much it was robbing me of. And I love that the next thing he goes into here, nor can the impatient man know aught of true blessedness, for he is in a continual source of trouble and unrest to himself, right? Like if you are impatient and you are irritable, that will show up everywhere in your life. And when that shows up everywhere in your life, you can not actually enjoy anything. You cannot have any sense of peace or blessedness in your life. You know nothing of it when you have impatience and you are irritable, right? Because nothing will ever be quick enough. People will never move fast enough. You'll never have everything that you want because there will always be something more, right? That impatience and irritability manifests in so many different ways. You will never know the peace and contentment and fulfillment of a blessed life if you do not offer up and sacrifice the impatience. It's a really important thing to realize. Like if you still have impatience in your life, this is a state of being you'll never achieve, is that peace and blessedness, right? So you have to be willing to let this go. You are constantly disturbing it and pushing yourself away from any blessedness or serenity, as might be said, in your life. The calm beauty and perpetual sweetness of patience are unknown to him. So when you have patience, the opposite, calm beauty and perpetual sweetness. Those are pretty nice sounding things, right? Calm beauty, perpetual sweetness, the things that contentment, that fulfillment with life, those things that we want so badly to get, that we're impatient to actually get, we actually push away due to our desire and our effort to hurry to pull them into our lives instead of them just naturally occurring into them, right? Patience is what gets them there. Impatience pushes them away, but we practice impatience in an attempt to achieve them. It's completely backwards, and we wonder why we're miserable, right? Or at least I did. I was miserable all the time, and I couldn't figure it out, right? So patience are unknown to him, and peace cannot draw near to soothe and comfort him. Always restless, irritable, discontent. You never have a moment of peace or serenity in your life, right? Well, it might be because of impatience, right? This is a pretty substantial reading about it. This is a pretty definitive understanding and perspective to take into consideration. You might be blocking yourself off from it. The world doesn't hold it for you. It's always willing to give it if you allow it to come. Now, there is no blessedness. There is no, I underline that multiple times, no blessedness anywhere until impatience is sacrificed. It is impossible to have blessedness in your life. Just again, to reiterate this, it is impossible to have blessedness in your life if you have impatience anywhere. And its sacrifice means the development. Okay, so this is what we're going to have to actually develop. He gives us usually some direction to take, right? Its sacrifice, so the sacrifice of impatience and irritability means the development of endurance. It's a pretty good thing, right? The ability to endure, to continue on, to move forward, right? Regardless of situation or circumstance. The practice of forbearance, right? Forbearance, I wrote down the definition just for context. Patiently in control, restraint and tolerance. So the practice of forbearance, restraint and tolerance, and the creation of a new and gentler habit of mind, right? So take that intensity out and not push that out into other people, right? Because that's like the compassionate, empathetic, and understanding is what's going to allow you to maintain the composure and the state of being, to allow blessedness to be there, right? And actually take those, what did he say, calm, strong, and deliberate actions, right? Is coming from a place of compassion and understanding. Because if you don't come from that place, you will just take things personally. And when you take things personally, you get impatient and irritated. It all is connected. So when impatience and irritability are entirely put away, and they are finally offered up on the altar of unselfishness. Now, we've had this altar referenced in the anger and unkindness portion too. It didn't say altar of unselfishness, though. So I want to point out, like, that's what we're actually doing here, is we're working towards an unselfish and service way of living and way of being. Okay? So the creation and a new, gentler habit of mind. When impatience and irritability are entirely put away and finally offered up on the altar of unselfishness, then it is realized. Then is realized and enjoyed the blessedness of a strong, quiet, and peaceful mind. Who doesn't want that, right? That is what many of us are going for. We want this sense of stability and security from a strong, quiet, and peaceful mind, right? That is what I want. That is how I would prefer to function in the world. That is how I would prefer to actually engage in this world, is with a strong, quiet, and peaceful mind. And if you are impatient and irritable, all of it goes out the window. You just become an emotionally reactive person and selfish and self-centered. In the pursuit of unselfishness, we find this strong, quiet, peaceful mind. And we find that that's one of the things we've wanted for that was the goal of so many of our character defects, of so many of our imperfections, we can say our unhealthy negative behaviors, was because we wanted this strong, quiet, and peaceful mind. At least I know I did. Now we get into this little stanza he put in there. I'm guessing it's his because there's no reference outside of it. Each hour we think of others more than self, that hour we live again. Service, he's talking about in that line. Service is true living, right? When you're actually thinking of yourself, when you're actually thinking of others and how you can be of service to them, right? That's actually living. If you're just trying to figure out how to best serve yourself, what are you actually doing? You're not actually helping anybody. You're just taking from this world. And every lowly sacrifice we make for another's good shall make life more than self, and open the windows of thy soul to light from higher spheres. So hail thy lot with joy. Makes me think of a saying, and that's the end of this section here with us, but makes me think of this saying. It's humility is not thinking less of yourself, right? It's not debasing yourself, but it's thinking of yourself less, right? It's getting out of the way and you allowing the world to be exactly how it is, and knowing this world doesn't operate around you. This world doesn't cater to you specifically. This world is just exactly what this world is. And that's it. Point blank, period. That's all it ever was. And we get to choose what we want to bring to it, including ourselves. I love that. Love that stuff. So, but there we have it. Byways of blessedness. We're giving up impatience and irritability today. Two things that I had regularly had involved in my life, right? That I have had to turn over and sacrifice on that altar of unselfishness many times. And I, from time to time, still struggle with it. So, beautiful reading. Absolutely fantastic couple of paragraphs. I can't believe all of this is packed into one chapter, if I'm honest with you. I'm excited to go into next week's and just keep building on this thing. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me again tonight. And I look forward to next week. So until next time, thanks.